How to take first step for talking. Anya remembered the daunting silence. English words swirled in her mind, yet her tongue felt heavy, glued to the roof of her mouth. The fear of making a mistake, of sounding foolish, was an invisible barrier. She longed to express herself, to connect, but the first step felt impossibly huge, a chasm. One day, observing friends chatting effortlessly, she noticed their rhythm, their natural pauses. They weren't using complex jargon, their conversations flowed with simple, common phrases. It wasn't about perfect grammar but clear communication. This observation sparked a tiny flicker of hope within her hesitant heart. Her first concrete step was whispering greetings to herself in the mirror. "Hello, how are you? Good morning." These tiny acts felt monumental, a silent defiance against her anxieties. She focused on the pronunciation, feeling the shape of the words forming, gaining a whisper of control. She discovered other people spoke English with varying accents, all perfectly understandable. This realization was liberating. There wasn't one right way to sound. Everyone simply communicated their ideas. This broadened her perspective on what effective English speaking truly entailed. To talk to anyone in English, she learned, started with listening intently. Picking up on common conversational starters, observing body language, and waiting for natural openings became her new focus. It wasn't about jumping in, but easing into the flow of interaction gracefully. Building confidence, she understood, was an inside job. It wasn't about avoiding mistakes, but about accepting them as part of the learning process. Each misspoken word was a lesson, not a failure. This mental shift was crucial for her progress. Reading became her secret weapon. Daily, she devoured articles, simple stories, and even product labels. Each new word encountered in context solidified its meaning. It expanded her vocabulary passively, making recognition easier when she heard words spoken aloud. "Let me tell you talking tips," her mentor said. "Start small. Don't aim for perfection immediately. Focus on being understood. Use simple sentences. Your goal is connection, not flawless articulation every single time." This advice resonated deeply with Anya. Practicing English involved daily rituals. She narrated her day internally, describing her actions and thoughts aloud when alone. "I am making coffee now. The water is boiling." These mundane descriptions built familiarity with common verbs and sentence structures. She started shadowing native speakers, repeating phrases from podcasts and videos. Mimicking intonation and rhythm helped her sound more natural. This wasn't about rote memorization but internalizing the melody of English speech, making it feel more comfortable. The true breakthrough came with talking to people in pairs. A friend, also learning, became her practice partner. They set aside specific times for English-only conversations, no matter how awkward they felt initially, committed to the process. They practiced simple dialogues, ordering food, asking for directions, describing their weekends. These structured conversations reduced the pressure, allowing them to focus on constructing sentences rather than spontaneous, unpredictable interactions. It was a safe space. This pair practice quickly blossomed. They corrected each other gently, celebrated small victories, and encouraged perseverance. The shared vulnerability made the learning journey less intimidating and far more enjoyable, fostering a supportive environment for growth. Anya also engaged in English talking practice through online language exchange groups. Here, she met people from different backgrounds, discussing diverse topics. This broadened her exposure to various accents and conversational styles, enhancing her adaptability. She learned English wasn't just about grammar rules, it was about culture, nuance, and genuine human connection. Every conversation was a mini lesson in empathy and understanding. This perspective transformed her learning from a chore into an adventure. Building confidence meant reframing her internal dialogue. Instead of, "What if I make a mistake?" it became, "What if I learn something new?" This positive self-talk empowered her to step out of her comfort zone repeatedly, with less hesitation. She realized that even fluent speakers stumbled sometimes. Observing them made her less self-conscious about her own occasional fumbles. Everyone, regardless of proficiency, experiences moments of confusion or miscommunication. It's just part of talking. To talk to anyone, she adopted a simple strategy: find common ground. A shared interest, a casual observation, or even a polite question about their day could open the door to a brief, yet meaningful, exchange, breaking the ice. Why reading is so important, she now truly understood. It wasn't just for vocabulary, it was for sentence structure, idiom usage, and absorbing natural expressions. Reading provided the mental framework upon which her speaking skills could solidly build. She immersed herself in English media, movies with subtitles, podcasts, and even audiobooks. This passive listening familiarized her with spoken English at a natural pace, bridging the gap between written words and their spoken counterparts effectively. "Let me tell you talking tips," became her mantra. Listen more than you speak. Ask open-ended questions. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Nod, smile, show engagement. These simple techniques made conversations flow much more smoothly. For making confidence in speaking, Anya practiced positive visualization. She imagined herself successfully having conversations, fluent and confident. This mental rehearsal prepared her psychologically, reducing performance anxiety when real interactions occurred. The first step for talking, she concluded, was simply making a sound. Any sound. Even a simple, "excuse me," or "thank you," counted. It broke the spell of silence and signaled readiness to engage, no matter how small. How other people talk in English often involves fillers like, like, or, you know. Anya noticed these natural hesitations. This made her less critical of her own pauses and fillers, realizing they were common, not flaws. To talk to anyone in English, she carried a small notebook. She jotted down new words or phrases heard in conversation, reviewing them later. This active learning reinforced vocabulary acquisition and helped her integrate new expressions quickly. English talking practice extended to her daily commute. She would mentally translate street signs, advertisements, or even snippets of conversations around her. This constant mental engagement kept her English brain active and sharp. Learning English was a marathon, not a sprint. There were days of frustration, but also days of exhilarating progress. She learned to embrace the fluctuations, understanding that consistency, not perfection, was the key to long-term success. Her confidence grew steadily. She began initiating conversations, asking for directions, or simply commenting on the weather. Each small interaction, however brief, added another brick to her wall of self-assurance, making her feel capable. Why reading is so important also encompassed understanding different writing styles and tones. From formal news articles to casual blog posts, reading exposed her to the vast spectrum of English expression, making her a more versatile speaker. She learned to use context clues from reading to infer meaning, a skill invaluable in real-time conversations. If she didn't know a word, she could often guess its meaning from the surrounding words, keeping the flow. "Let me tell you talking tips," her inner voice now echoed. "Don't translate in your head. Think directly in English, even if it's just simple thoughts. This speeds up your response time and reduces mental clutter." How to practice English effectively meant creating opportunities daily. If she couldn't find a human to talk to, she talked to herself, to her pets, or even recorded herself speaking, listening back for areas to improve. Talking to people in pairs proved immensely beneficial for overcoming initial shyness. Knowing her partner was also learning created a judgment-free zone. They were in it together, cheering each other on through every awkward pause. English talking practice wasn't limited to formal exercises. It seeped into her hobbies. Watching English cooking shows, singing along to English songs, and playing video games in English all contributed to her immersive learning experience. Learn English became a lifestyle choice. It wasn't just a subject, it was a tool for connection, for opening new worlds, and for personal growth. This mindset fueled her motivation and made the journey truly enjoyable. The fear slowly receded, replaced by a growing excitement. She no longer worried about perfection but focused on clarity and connection. Every conversation was an opportunity, not a potential failure, shifting her entire outlook. How other people talk in English varied widely. Some spoke quickly, others slowly. Some used elaborate vocabulary, others simple. Anya learned to adapt her listening and speaking style to match the situation, becoming more flexible. To talk to anyone in English, she understood the power of a smile. A friendly expression conveyed openness and reduced perceived intimidation. It was a universal language that paved the way for verbal communication, making it inviting. Making confidence in speaking also involved celebrating small wins. Successfully ordering coffee, understanding a joke, or navigating a simple conversation without major hiccups were all reasons to acknowledge progress and reinforce her belief in herself. Why reading is so important extended to cultural understanding. Books, articles, and online content provided insights into English-speaking cultures, their customs, and humor, enriching her overall comprehension and making conversations more meaningful. "Let me tell you talking tips, don't apologize for your accent," her mentor had advised. Your accent is part of your identity. Focus on clear pronunciation, not erasing your unique voice. Authenticity is key in communication. How to practice English beyond structured lessons included observing real-life interactions. People in cafes, on the street, or in shops provided authentic examples of everyday English usage, far beyond textbook dialogues, offering valuable insights. Talking to people in pairs not only built speaking skills but also listening comprehension. Actively listening to her partner, understanding their questions, and formulating relevant responses honed her overall communication abilities in a supportive setting. English talking practice sometimes involved recording herself. She would speak on a random topic for a minute, then listen back. This objective self-assessment helped her identify recurring errors and track improvements over time, offering clear benchmarks. Learn English was an ongoing adventure, a continuous climb. There was always more to discover, new expressions to learn, and different ways to articulate ideas. This endless learning cycle kept her engaged and motivated. The first step for talking, Anya realized, was truly about courage. Not the courage of a hero, but the quiet courage to be vulnerable, to stumble, and to persist, one small word at a time, overcoming self-doubt. She noticed how other people talked in English with natural conversational fillers and pauses. They weren't speaking like robots. This realization normalized her own occasional hesitations, making her feel less pressured to be flawlessly fluent instantly. To talk to anyone in English, she focused on simple, direct language. Overly complex sentences often led to confusion for both speaker and listener. Clarity always trumped complexity, ensuring her message was effectively conveyed every time. Making confidence in speaking wasn't about being perfect, it was about being present. Engaging fully in the conversation, showing genuine interest, and responding thoughtfully contributed more to her perceived confidence than impeccable grammar ever could. Why reading is so important also provided exposure to different registers of language. From formal academic texts to informal online chats, reading broadened her understanding of how English adapts to various contexts and audiences effortlessly. Let me tell you talking tips. Prepare a few stock phrases for common situations, her advisor suggested. Introductions, asking for help, expressing agreement or disagreement. Having these ready reduces on-the-spot anxiety significantly. This proved invaluable. How to practice English included finding opportunities in everyday life. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, or even complimenting someone's attire became micro-practice sessions, integrating learning seamlessly into her daily routine, making it natural. Talking to people in pairs also allowed for role-playing scenarios. Practicing job interviews, customer service interactions, or even difficult conversations in a safe environment built immense practical experience and boosted her real-world readiness. English talking practice evolved from forced exercises to natural conversation. She found herself seamlessly switching to English without conscious effort, a testament to her consistent dedication and the sheer amount of exposure she had cultivated daily. Learn English was no longer a task but a joyful exploration. Anya had transformed her fear into freedom, her silence into vibrant conversation. She was no longer just learning, she was living in English, confidently connecting with the world.